Hey guys, so today we have an update on my Pan Those Eyeshadows project Pan for 2022. This is my first ever year doing the Pan Those Eyeshadows project. It was started by Alexi here on YouTube. She started this project a few years ago. Since then, a ton of people have started doing it, and I am so glad that I started it this year because so far I'm having a ton of fun. Kind of wishing I had started it sooner. If you're unfamiliar with the Pan Those Eyeshadows project Pan, I'll leave my intro linked down below. But just to give you a brief overview, the way that it works is at the beginning of the project, you randomly select 5 eyeshadows from your collection. They could be from any palette, any single, and that is kind of your quintet of shadows that you're going to be working with. Once you hit pan or meet a certain usage goal on a shadow, you can roll it out and roll something new in its place. I love any kind of makeup thing that is randomly generated. I just find that so much fun. So in this video, I'm going to give you an update on the 5 shadows that I've been working on. And as you see, I don't have on any eyeshadow yet because I do also want to do a look with my quintet of shadows just to kind of show you how I've been using them. And I don't think I'm going to be rolling in any new shadows this time, which I know that sounds like what? Like, what do you mean you don't think you will? Well, so there's one shadow in my quintet that I am so close to hitting pan on that I might actually hit pan on it today when I create the look that we're going to create in this video. So if I do, then I will roll in a new shadow, and if I don't, then we won't have any new shadows in, and we'll just have the same 5 shadows in February. So there's a little suspense to this video. But before we get into the update, I do want to thank today's sponsor, which is Ana Luisa Jewelry. I have been working with them for over a year now, almost. Actually, it'll be 2 years coming up very soon. And I wanted to let you guys know that for Valentine's Day, they're having a buy one get one 40% off sale site-wide. So if you are on the hunt for a gift for somebody for Valentine's Day, or you just want to treat yourself, this will be a great time to check them out. They have so many cute pieces. I also love that their pieces are made with recycled metals whenever possible. They are a totally carbon neutral brand. And I did want to show you guys the pieces that I've got on today. Where to even begin? Let's start with the necklaces. So these two I've been wearing layered quite a bit recently. This kind of thicker chain is called the Ana necklace. I actually showed this one in the video that I did with them in December. And then the necklace that I have layered with it is the Sjosten necklace. This is so stinking cute. It's just this really simple kind of sparkly disc on a very thin chain. And I love this one on its own or layered like I have it today. And then I also have the matching bracelet that goes with that necklace. This is the Jenna bracelet. Basically same concept in bracelet form. So I've been wearing those two together quite a bit. And then the other new piece I have from them is this pair of earrings. Okay, so I have a few earrings that are in this same kind of, they call it the Hana style, I believe. And these are the mini Hana pastel blues. So this is one of their newer earrings in like the Hana line. And I love how cute and mini it is. And this color, this is one of my absolute favorite colors, this like pastel, I don't know if you would call it like a cornflower blue, or it's almost like verging on periwinkle, so pretty. And they also have a couple of other colors in this mini Hana style. But yeah, these are just so cute, a little bit different, kind of unique, but still very classic. So those are the pieces I've got on today, and I feel like they all just go so well together. So I highly recommend checking out their site. They've got so many cute styles, a little bit of something for everyone, and their pieces range from $39 and up. And some of their pieces I've been wearing almost daily for over a year now, and they have held up really, really well. So I truly think the quality is just outstanding for the price. If you guys want to check them out, I will have them linked down below in the description box. But thank you so much to Ana Luisa for sponsoring today's video, and let's go ahead and hop into my Pan Those Eyeshadows update. So first, let me go ahead and remind you the 5 shadows that I selected in the intro. First, we have Black Ice from the Shared Planet Polar Bear palette. Then the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize single in Rose Gold. Volatile from the ABH Norvina palette, Opal from my Profusion Mauves palette, and finally Rustler from the Urban Decay Naked Wild West palette. This was a nice mix of 5 very kind of basic, neutral, everyday shades, so I feel like I got kind of lucky in that regard because these are all shades that can easily be incorporated into pretty much any look, but also most of these shadows were ones that I was nowhere near hitting pan on. The only one that I thought I was going to hit pan on was the shade Opal from Profusion Mauves. So in this video, I do want to do another look using all 5 of these shadows, and there's a chance I will hit pan on this shadow today. I feel like I'm so close, like any day now. If I don't hit pan on it today, I probably will hit pan on it at some point within the next few days. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that I'm not gonna be rolling any new shadows in. But that is where I'm at on Opal. You can see I have a really big dip going on in there. I used this shade a lot this month as both a highlighter, a cheekbone highlighter, and as an eyeshadow. If you remember in the intro, I actually did try out this shade as a highlighter, and I wasn't sure if I liked it then, but I did test it out a few more times, and I actually ended up loving this shade as a highlighter. I'm actually not currently wearing any highlighter because I wanted to show you guys how this looks just on its own. So I've been picking it up on my e.l.f. Precision Feather Light highlighting brush, and this is what it looks like. Isn't that so pretty? It reminds me of like Becca Champagne Pop or like similar highlighters like that. I wore that a lot as a highlighter this month as well as an eyeshadow. And this is the shade that I used the most times in January. I used this 23 times, and on the days when I used it as both a highlighter and an eyeshadow, I counted that as 2 uses because, you know, there's some days where I might only use it as an eyeshadow or only use it as a highlighter, and I count that as 1 use, so I figured it was fair to count it as 2 on the days where I used it for both. So I used that by far the most out of all these other shadows. Just because it is such a useful shade, I often use this type of shade. I was just looking at the monitor and it actually looks like there's a little pan in there, but there's not. Yeah, in case you were looking at that, like, wait, no, it totally does. Doesn't it look like there's a pan in the center, but it is not actually pan. But this is totally the kind of shade that I will use any day just as like an inner corner highlight or all over the lid. I used it a ton, so that was my most used shade. And then my next most used shade was Volatile from the ABH Norvina palette. Another very easy shade to incorporate. A lot of days I would just kind of smudge this on the lower lash line, or I'd use it to deepen up the outer corner. And you can see I feel like I'm still pretty far from actually hitting pan on this shade, but I do have more of a dip going in this shade than I did at the beginning of the month, as you can see there. So I'm thinking I will actually keep this shade in until I hit pan. I did also give myself the option that once I hit 20 uses on a shade, I'm allowed to roll it out in the next update and replace it with a new shade if I want to, because there's some shades in my collection where I might not even really want to hit pan on it, or it's like brand new to my collection, so it would take me like way too long to actually hit pan. But I think with this shade, I am going to keep it in until I do hit pan. And I'm actually thinking about keeping this palette in the Pan Those Eyeshadows project all year long and sort of having it be like a Pan That palette in a way. Just once I hit pan on that shade, I'll replace it with another shade from this palette. I'm thinking I'll do that. We'll see. Maybe I'll get tired of this palette and I won't want to do that, but that's what I'm planning on doing for now. Now, even though I didn't hit pan on this shade this month, I did hit pan on a different shade in the palette. I hit pan on Base, which I already had a huge dip in this shade, so I think just because I had this palette out, I basically just kept this palette and all these palettes out on my vanity all month. And because I had it out, I was just reaching into this shade a lot as either like a brow bone highlight or to kind of clean up my looks. So that is exciting. So I now have 4 pans in this palette. Probably gonna be I'm gonna guess another 2 or 3 months before I'm able to hit pan on Volatile, but who knows, maybe sooner. I feel like it's gonna be a while. Then the third most used shade this month was Rustler from Naked Wild West. The shade was practically brand new when I rolled it in. I think I'd maybe used it 5 times, if that, before that. So this is probably going to be one where I use it 20 times and roll it out. This month I used it 11 times. I actually wasn't that excited about this shade at the beginning of the month, but I really grew to enjoy it this month as like an all over the lid shade. I don't often wear like medium browns all over my lid. This is kind of a nice like bronzy brown, but I did a look this month where I had that all over the lid, and then I deepened up my outer corner with Volatile from Norvina. Those 2 shades together make such a pretty pairing because I feel like actually the base of Rustler, even though it's a very kind of like warm bronzy shade, the base of it is kind of similar to the color of Volatile. So I really ended up liking that sort of juxtaposition of the cooler toned taupe with that warm bronzy shade. I just thought that was such a pretty pairing. Probably going to be wearing that look again. And then when I wasn't wearing this all over the lid, another way that I was able to get more use out of it this month was kind of smudging it on the lower lash line, but kind of just in like the inner half of my lower lash line. Usually I'll have like a matte, deeper shadow like Volatile smudged kind of on the like outer portion of my lower lash line. So then I would just kind of pop a little bit of that in the inner portion, and it just kind of added something a little bit different. And that way I was able to incorporate it into a lot more looks as well, especially when I was wearing just a basic neutral look. It worked really well for that. So that shade I used 11 times this month, and it definitely does look like I've used it now, but I still don't think I am anywhere near hitting pan. So that is probably one shade where once I hit 20 uses, I'll roll it out, and I'm guessing that I will hit that 20 use goal by my next update. So then we have the matte black from my Shared Planet Polar Bear palette. These matte shadows in this palette are some of the hardest pressed shadows in my whole collection. So this is another one where there's no way I'm gonna hit pan on it. I used this one 9 times this month, and I was hoping to use it a little bit more than that, but it still looks like that shade has barely been touched. And I have some matte blacks in my collection where, I mean, I know it's hard to hit pan on a matte black regardless, but I have some, like, I feel like the ABH matte formula, there would definitely at least be a dip by the time I used something 9 times, especially because I would often use it as like a winged liner or to kind of set my black winged liner on the top. And so I was using like a small targeted brush, like this little angled brush here, but it looks like I barely used it. So this is probably going to be a 20 use and roll out shade, but even though that's such a challenging shade, I was still really happy to have this palette chosen, especially in January, because to me this is such a winter palette, and specifically great for January, because January is when I'm kind of in the mood for like icy blue toned looks. And I actually did a look this month where I used mainly like the shade Avalanche and I think Prism and Chili, and I think I also used the black shade to do like a really, really icy blue look. I posted that on my Instagram. That is one of my favorite looks that I've done in a really long time. So I had a lot of fun with this palette in January, and I'm excited to keep using it in February. And then the final shade was a single shadow, and this was actually the newest shadow in my collection. I had just bought it. I don't even think I had used it yet. Maybe I'd used it once. But this is the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize single cream shadow in the shade Rose Gold. This I used 8 times, so this was my least used shade this month. Hoping to use it a little bit more in February, but you can still see a nice little dip in there, so that's really nice to see. This is a very, very soft shadow, but this I wore a lot as a base. Sometimes I would wear this and then top it with Opal from Profusion Mauves. And I think this shade is going to be really pretty in some Valentine's Day looks this month. I'm planning on doing a lot of like Valentine's inspired looks throughout the month, and since this is a very like pinky rose gold, I think this will be perfect. So those are the 5 shadows that I've been working on. I'm really surprised that I didn't hit pan on Opal. For the past few days I've been using it a lot, like both as a highlighter and an eyeshadow, and every time I use it I would be like, where's the pan? I guess these pans are deeper than I would have expected, but I do want to create a quick look together today, just to kind of show you guys how I've been using these shadows. I want to do kind of like a soft pinky Valentine's look. I may also dip into some of the shades that are in these palettes but that aren't actually part of the Pan Those Eyeshadows. So I'm going to start by using the Charlotte Tilbury Rose Gold shadow as my eyeshadow base, and I have already primed my lids. So with this shade I kind of just like to dab it on with a finger first. And then I'll take this brush from Real Techniques. This is called their Deluxe Crease brush, but it's a very dense kind of domed brush. And just kind of blend out the edges there. And then I'm going to take some of the shade Standoff from Naked Wild West, just this matte cream color, and use that to kind of go ahead and set the brow bone and just above the crease. Alright, then I want to take a little bit of the shade Kindly from Profusion Mauves as kind of like our transition color. Then I'm going to dip into Norvina and pick up some of Love, this sort of medium pink color. Perfect Valentine's Day shade. I'm just going to use the same brush. This is the BK Beauty 201. Nice fluffy brush. And add a little bit of that into the crease to kind of make it a little bit pinker. And take a little bit of that into the outer corner as well. I am going to take some of Volatile as well and kind of smudge that on the upper lash line as like a very smoky liner. All right, then I am going to take some of Opal from Profusion Mauves and apply this to kind of the inner part of the lid. This is a really pretty shade. I'm not counting on hitting pan on this shade today, but if we do, that would be awesome, just saying. That is such a pretty color. This palette is so pretty. I feel like I've just really fallen back in love with this palette this month. I actually have a reel that should be going up on my Instagram at some point in the next couple of days, if it's not already up, using this palette. And that was the look I was wearing in my Project Pan update, my just regular Project Pan update. So I'm also going to take some of this on this little pencil brush from Sigma and use that as my inner corner shade as well. This is how I've been using this shade a lot, just kind of all over the lid, or at least on the inner like half of the lid, and then also I bring it around the inner corner. And some days I'll just use it as an inner corner shade if I'm doing like a different kind of look. And then I also, just to make this look a little bit pinker, I'm going to take some of Femme, which is like the more rosy light shimmer in here, and tap some of that on the center of the lid. That's also such a pretty shade. Profusion really knows what they're doing when it comes to shimmers. So I'm also going to take a little bit of the matte black, not a lot. I'm just going to take a little bit of this and kind of stamp it like right up next to the lash line on the top. This is an old Profusion angled liner brush, just to add a little definition, also just to say that we use this shade. I'm not really doing like a sharp wing today, I just want to keep it very soft. Then I'm going to use Volatile again as my lower lash line, like smudgy liner. And I'm just kind of smudging that all along, mainly concentrating it on the outer half, but bringing it most of the way in. Lately this eye has been watering just out of the corner. I'm trying to figure out what is causing it. It seems to happen like after I apply my makeup, but specifically like my concealer and powder and everything. It started watering before I applied any eyeshadow today. But it wasn't watering before I put on my makeup, so I don't know, man, I don't know. So then I'll show you how I've been using Rustler, this shade, even when I often don't think this shade would tie in that well with the look. It actually works quite well, just kind of a little pop right in this region. And then I do want to kind of clean that up a little bit with the matte cream color, kind of blur the whole thing out, so it's not too harsh down there. And also gonna apply that to the brow bone. So I just put a coat of black mascara on the top lashes. I think I'm not gonna put any mascara on the bottom lashes today. Just gonna keep it very light and fresh. But for the lip, I think I'm gonna wear one of the lipsticks that I rolled into my makeup basket for this round. This is the Urban Decay Matte Vice Lipstick in Art Walk. Really pretty kind of medium pink color. Ooh, so pretty. Love it. And I actually love the way that that ties in with the blue of the earrings. I like pink and blue. Makes a really cute combo. I do need more blush though. I'm going to use my Aether Ametrine quad that I added into the makeup basket as well. I already have some of the Cloven Hallow Hydra Tint in Blossom on, but I just feel like I need a little bit more blush. So I'm going to take some of this middle shade. This is the Amber Cheek Palette from Aether. And just kind of add a little bit of that on. That is such a fresh color. This is getting me in the mood for spring looks. So you can see how I was able to incorporate all 5 of these shades into the look today. Even though I was using other shades in these palettes, it was still really easy to incorporate all 5 of them. So yeah, I'm gonna really make an effort to use these as much as possible in February. I did not manage to hit pan on Opal in this video. I thought there was a chance I might hit pan on it today, but we're gonna work on it for 1 more month. I'm guessing I will hit pan on this shade in the first half of February for sure, if not within the first few days. Watch me not even hit pan on it at all in February. That would be hilarious. Kind of sad that we weren't able to roll any new shades in, but that's okay. I think I still had a really successful month, and I do think that in my next update we'll at least be rolling in 1 new shade. Thank you again to Ana Luisa for sponsoring today's video. If you guys are in the market for some new jewelry, I will have their Valentine's Day sale info down below in the description box. But otherwise, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and hopefully I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye!